Welcome to Live at the Range. Sorry about the delay. You got to admit the video that we did there was pretty cool. Would you believe I did that all myself? Yeah, I wouldn't either. So thanks to Phil for doing that. Phil, great job.
It's like a real show now.
Phil's over there shaking his head. So that's the way it goes. But Phil, seriously, that's a great video. Did a great job of it. So
we have an intro video.
So an intro video that makes us official. So
I guess we're showing.
Yeah. All right. Well, happy early Father's Day. So what's that?
I don't know. Somebody threw
Here
these
gave
at
Ron
me.
a noisemaker.
Somebody threw these at me right before we came in.
All right. So
are we going bowling?
So these are bowling pins that are shootable. We actually have these down on the range where you can actually hang these as your target, roll them out 10 yards, 15 yards, maybe 20, 25, depending on what you're doing, and practice shooting these. They do move a little bit, so it makes it a little bit more challenging. Great thing to do on Father's Day with your son or daughter.
So we
bring
had
them out and shoot these.
So we had some of the guys go downstairs and shoot those earlier today, and they were having a ball.
Yeah.
Yeah, but being able to shoot a target that's moving around, that's pretty cool.
The more you hit it, the more it moves.
Yeah. So mine never stopped moving or never moved.
Never moved. So that was Phil's that was moving.
That was Phil's that was moving.
All right. So this Sunday is Father's Day. So bring your dad to the range. Dads shoot free all day long.
Dads shoot free on Sunday. Yep.
All right. So bring your kid or just bring yourself. Do some shooting.
Free lane for Dad, and it's only $5 more for anybody else shooting with him. And of course, we got guns to rent and all the other toys. We got bowling pins to shoot. All other kinds of cool stuff.
Something fun, something a little different. So.
Well, and if you come out on Friday, I know it's not Friday, I know it's not Father's Day, but if you want to treat Dad early, bring him out Friday, and we've got buy one, get one on Machine Gun Friday this month. So you can actually shoot a full auto AR platform, either in 9mm or 5.56. Buy one magazine, get the second magazine for free.
So it is buy one, get one on, it's called Full Auto Friday. It's all month during June. Also, if you're a member this month.
Oh, yeah.
Well, why don't you cover everything that's going on?
Well, if you're a member, our every month we run a bonus program just for our members, and this month it's half off on training all month long. And we don't care if you don't have to take the training this month. You can purchase a dozen different training courses, save 50%, and just take them as they come up throughout the year. Does not expire. You can take them at any future date. You can't. They're not transferable. You can't buy one and give it to your buddies. I mean, it's for you because you're the mob, you're the member. So definitely want to take advantage of that. I mean, if you don't have your CCW, you should. We're going to talk about that in the show today. Basic handgun, defensive handgun, carbine, shotgun. Anti-carjacking, basic hand-to-hand skills, edged and alternative weapons. I can go on and on and on, but definitely go to our website, therangestl.com/training, and you'll see a list of all the classes that we're taking, and you can click on that link, get signed up, boom, you're in. But to take advantage of the bonus, you need to come in here and purchase those in advance.
Yeah, you got to do those in the store. You can't do those online.
Yeah.
If you have issues with that, just give us a call, 636-220-1300. And I think Phil, the record for the most purchased on that event was it 8 classes?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
And it was 8. So we had a gentleman here yesterday that purchased 4, so joined as a new member. So.
Awesome. Take advantage of it. What else we got going? Still have our Heat is On promotion that's going on. We've actually expanded it a little bit. So all of our long guns are on sale, 10% off. And with that long gun purchase, you get 20% off of everything else that's on that ticket.
And that includes optics.
Yep, does include optics, does not include an additional firearm, but you can come in and buy a Daniel Defense or a Smith & Wesson or a Ruger long gun, a shotgun, we don't care, and then get some ammo, get a cleaning kit, get a case for it, everything else is 20% off. And if you're not a member and decide that you want to take a class, you can get 25% off any class that you get at the same time that you buy the rifle. So, and we got all of our shotgun ammo is 20%. Everything's on sale.
Everything's on sale. That's
all the shotgun ammo is 20% off this month, and we got in several cases of birdshot. I know we got some trap shooters and some skeet shooters out there. Come in, get some of that 7.5 ounce stuff. Good for, obviously good for fowl hunting, for bird hunting and trapping. Skeet
just reiterate, you got to shoot single aught buck or larger here at the range.
That's right.
Cannot shoot bird shots.
Yep. Yep.
All right, tonight we got Girls and Guns.
Number one event.
Still got some slots for that.
What are they eating tonight?
You're not
I said they.
They're having bundt cakes.
Bundt cakes?
And grapes and cheese and chocolate-covered almonds and cashews.
And who's the wine? Are we having wine tonight?
Yeah, Michelle will be here with wine.
Awesome.
So PRP will be here with the wine, so thanks to PRP
Thank
for
you
always
very
hosting
much.
that for the ladies. So, all right, this month we also have a free clinic coming up. Lieutenant Kelly Murray from Ellisville is going to be doing our free clinic on the 20th,
Yep.
20th of June.
And we're going to try to get him on for the show next week to actually talk about that so people know what to expect and kind of give everybody a 20-minute
Preview
of what he's going to be talking about, which is how to secure your home.
Yeah, so securing your home, police officer for 2 decades now. So.
Yeah, great guy.
All right.
Great guy.
Also, Marine Corps League Shoot is coming up on June 30th. So if you must register for that, I encourage you to do that in advance. Everything goes towards Marine Corps. They're also raffling off a Daniel Defense rifle with an optic and a M9A3
Beretta M9A3 and flat dark.
my favorite version of the Beretta. They're raffling those off. You can get tickets here for that as well. So, and that's always a big event, always a fun day. So.
Sorry. Cracked my knuckles.
All right, what else we got going on? Is that
I
it?
do that right here. Man, that's plenty. You can always come shoot. It's hot outside. Come shoot your guns.
That's right. Yeah. Let's talk about some in the news stuff, Dan. Before we get started on the stuff you had, a quick update on last week. I think we showed the video and we talked about the FBI backflip dancer. It looks like he has actually been charged with assault in Colorado, and will be in court, and we'll be trying to sort out how to negotiate his way through that. There may even be some other charges pending because I believe an alcohol breath test was administered, and I'm thinking that he probably didn't pass that.
Oh,
so,
man.
I hate that for him, but it is a good example for everybody else that you have to maintain control of yourself and your firearm at all times.
At all times.
It doesn't matter what you want to do; it's what you're supposed to do. So,
I really feel bad. I mean, what happened should not have happened. Period.
Correct.
Right? I feel bad for the guy because to be an FBI agent, that's like a lifetime thing. You keep your nose clean and you do the right things and you work hard. And they don't take schlubs.
And I'm sure he's not a slacker. I'm sure he's a high-speed guy.
Absolutely. But this is just a prime example of one mistake can change the course of your life.
Always got to use good judgment.
Yeah, always.
All right, what else you got in the news?
Well, on the legislation front, we're seeing it more and more, and we need to be aware of Missouri. Thankfully, we live in Missouri, right? Great gun state, great freedom state. If you don't live here, move here. But California laws tend to propagate and end up being introduced in other states. In fact, is it North Carolina?
North Carolina.
North Carolina has a bill on the floor that's taking a lot of that California gun control legislation and trying to introduce it in North Carolina.
Well,
and I mean, that just amazes. You just can't
I don't think it's going to get
now.
through in North Carolina.
Doesn't
just given the makeup, but yes, it's introduced. Well, if you look at all the things that are introduced here in Missouri every year, we always have a lot of very onerous anti-freedom type laws introduced surrounding firearms. None of them see the light of day in Missouri normally, but in other states, they're not as lucky as we are with our legislature. Obviously, Oregon and Washington State always tend to follow California's path. Oh, I did see also that California, there's going to be a referendum on the ballot in California this fall to break it up into 3 states. It's going to be on the ballot, a referendum. They're going to have California, which is primarily centered around LA, and Northern California, which is basically Sacramento, San Francisco, and up. Southern California, San Diego area, and sort of swings around to the east and encompasses some of the desert mountain areas there. So that's very interesting that that's actually on the ballot in California. They've never made it to the ballot before. A few years ago, they got enough votes for the ballot measure for 6 states, but enough of the votes were invalidated by the state government as not being legitimate. They have passed that threshold now, so this is actually going to be on the ballot. So,
wow.
So
we can have 52 states.
And nothing else. It's a good reality TV show to watch. So what's happening?
That's a great idea for a show. How screwed up California is.
Yeah.
Can that be the title of the?
I don't know.
Of the
stupid California. I don't know.
Yeah.
So. Interesting. We had a conversation with a gentleman who lives in California, and he's the first one to talk about all the stupid things that happen in California.
Yeah.
So it's,
well, I read recently that like 50% of the people that they polled that live in California are interested in leaving the state.
yeah, that's huge.
And that's phenomenal to me. There's also, I think I read somewhere that California's economy is like the 6th largest in the world.
Yeah, if California was a country by itself, it would be a major player in the, the world economic
but they
front.
can't pay their bills.
Well, California actually does pay their bills, unlike Illinois. California does a pretty good job of it, but they do spend a ton of money on just,
Anyway.
you sort of shake your head. Like right now, they have a huge homeless problem. If you go through like San Diego and stuff, you've got overhead walkways over interstates, and there's just tent cities on the walkway, right? So it's not a good situation, but anyway. So that's California. Luckily, we live here.
50. You have to buy a new flag.
So
53 stars. Or 52 stars.
52.
Yep.
So, all right. Yeah. Obviously, we had another horrible weekend in Chicago.
And this one's really sad. And 63-year-old guy was accosted by 4 teenagers,
Okay.
brandishing guns, demanding his stuff. He's a CCW holder, produced his firearm, shot and killed one of the kids. Turns out they all had fake guns.
So they were made to look real, but they were fake guns.
All using. I mean, so this kid is gone for no reason at all. This man.
Well, there is a reason, because he was committing a crime.
No good reason, right?
So, but he was still committing a crime.
He was committing a crime. I get that. But this guy, I really feel bad for this. And he did nothing wrong. I mean,
just defended himself.
He just defended himself from a threat that was presented to him. And
so interesting point of law here. If you take a fake gun, a toy gun, and you use it to hold up a gas station or any other thing, you get the same penalty as if you'd used a real gun. There's some other things they can throw on top of it as real gun, but that's still considered armed robbery, so forth, because the other person doesn't know that that's not a real gun. And we've had officers have the same thing happen to them.
Yep.
And some of those have been publicized pretty good, some not. But yeah, I mean, I feel for the guy because he had to take someone else's life. I'm really glad that Illinois has a CCW system now that gives him that ability.
Yep.
And that was in Chicago. I forgot the exact number. There were 20-something people shot in Chicago over the weekend, and I think it was either 6 or 9 deaths over the weekend in Chicago.
Yeah.
So I mean, on an average month in Chicago, it's like having a mass shooting.
Yeah.
Right?
Absolutely.
But unfortunately, that doesn't get the media attention that the other
that's
things
because
get,
they've got all the gun laws in Chicago, so everybody's really safe. I mean, that doesn't really matter that they actually have a gun problem. They've got all the gun laws.
Well, yeah. So you're telling me the reason that this guy was accosted by these 4 teenagers is that he had a CCW permit. If he hadn't had a CCW permit, they would have left.
Nobody would.
Right?
Nobody would. Yeah.
So, all right, and we got one more sort of heart-wrenching story here.
I guess Monday. Young lady with 3 kids headed to her car.
Where was this?
Here in St. Louis.
Here in St. Louis.
3 kids headed to her car in the morning to take them to a summer camp. A teenager pulled a shirt up over his face, and all his testimony, I guess, came from her 8-year-old son. Pulled a t-shirt up over his face, came up to her, demanded her money and her keys, shot her, killed her in front of the 3 kids. Couldn't start the car and ended up running off even without the car. They caught this guy and have charged a teenager with murdering this woman in front of her 3 kids.
So a woman's killed, 3 kids' lives are changed forever. I mean, I don't know how as an 8-year-old you get over that, but and all for nothing.
Yeah, just on our own property.
Yeah.
And I'm really glad that we're doing this, that Kelly's going to come and talk about securing your home and things that you need to do. But you would, in a civilized world, you would think that I've got 3 kids with me. Nobody's going to come up and stick a gun in my face.
Even the bad guy's going to have enough, I don't know if honor's the right word, but to not mess with that. Conscience.
Conscience, yeah.
Yeah, to not mess with a mom with 3 kids.
Breaks my heart.
So.
Breaks my heart. So anyway, never let your guard down.
All the more reason that you have to be responsible for yourself. In society, all too often, we live in a relatively safe society compared to the rest of the world in history. So we sort of get a false sense of security, and we've talked about that before, about you can't operate in condition white all the time. You've always got to be alert. And that's part of being responsible for yourself and your family.
And it's easy to go to white when you're dealing with kids.
Yeah.
There's no two ways
Yeah.
about it. She, you know, she is absolutely not at fault here. It's this thug's.
Absolutely.
This thug is bad news. This whole thing is just terrible. I
All right.
really struggle when.
Yeah, it just
I
turns
hate
your
it
gut.
anyway, but
So.
it just turns my stomach.
Yeah. So, and speaking of that, so let's talk about CCW, because obviously that's a tool that people can use to help be prepared themselves. And the firearm and having that CCW permit, knowing how to use it, is a huge equalizer
Yep.
in a physical confrontation. The Chicago man's, obviously it's elderly man against 4 teens. Normally he's not going to win that fight.
Even if you know, yeah, that's right. Even if they weren't brandishing firearms,
Yeah.
if it was just you on 4, that's a no-win.
Right, and very few of us are going to win 1-on-4, period, no
Yeah.
matter who we are.
Oh,
so,
yeah.
So the CCW and having a firearm that you can deploy effectively is a huge tool in just equalizing that playing field. So Missouri is now what the term we use, constitutional carry
For
state.
a
even
year and a
though-
half now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even though the way ours is done is not truly constitutional carry, but the net effect is the same. So why do we still need a CCW? Because we here at the range, we saw CCW classes go up dramatically when that law, the constitutional carry law, went into effect.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and I think it brought more attention to it, and people realized, yeah, I need to be doing that. But they also realized I don't know how to do it. So,
Right.
we always sort of liken it to driving a car. If you just give somebody keys and put them in a car, then they're driven before it, the result's usually not very positive. Same thing with a firearm. So, but we get asked this question all the time, and I'm going to ask you the question.
Constantly.
So, if Missouri is a constitutional carry state, why do I need a CCW permit?
There are several reasons. So when we get asked this question, what immediately comes to my mind is, number one, reciprocity. Okay, reciprocity meaning that there are other states that recognize Missouri's concealed carry permit and will allow you to carry concealed there. You and I recently took a trip
With
to
the
Wisconsin.
Missouri CCW.
With the Missouri CCW. So if I'm just going to constitutional carry, but I go on vacation down to Arkansas, then you can't take your gun.
The vacation capital of the Midwest, apparently. Arkansas.
Arkansas. But typically constitutional carry only applies to residents. There are some caveats to that, but it typically only applies to residents. So the reciprocity is a big deal for me because we do travel. You and I recently went up to Wisconsin. Guess what? While we were in Wisconsin, we had reciprocity. We could carry our firearm. There's a lot of comfort in that, especially when you're staying in hotels and you're not familiar with areas and you know that people know that you're a visitor. And
Yep.
I mean, there's a lot of reasons to be able to have that tool on you when you travel, when you're visiting. So that's number one. I now have reciprocity and I can protect myself and my family when I travel. Number two, there's some really good basic training that takes place in that CCW class. I can tell you when I started carrying, I took my CCW class, the instructor, who did a good job, did not really spend as much time as like we do on how you can carry that gun and what types of gun are better for carry than others, ammunition choices, caliber differences.
Plus, you get the opportunity to ask a person who's
Well,
been doing it for. Well,
Exactly
I don't know.
right.
Phil, you teach most of our CCW classes. You've been carrying for what, a decade now?
Yeah, well, since the state of Missouri's allowed it.
So what, 14, 15 years now,
Yeah.
something like that? So I mean, that's,
Yep.
I mean, a decade and a half of experience carrying, much less the firearm experience in general. And you get to ask somebody those questions, plus Phil's got multiple instructor credentials, et cetera. So being able to ask somebody questions like
Yep.
that is just a huge
Yep.
benefit. So.
Well, I remember when I first strapped my gun on, I'm like, freaking everybody can see that I'm carrying a gun. I need some different choices. And, I had to figure that out on my own.
So you have a huge box of holsters at home too.
Yes, literally.
It's almost like a rite
It
of
saves
passage.
you money. It gives you the right tools. It helps you discover, all right, well, and this kind of leads me into my third reason that I give that, tell people they need to get in their CCW is that, I didn't know that is not a viable defense if you violate a concealed carry
Ignorance of the law is no excuse.
So if you, and I think most people know this, but if you walked into a post office with your gun on and you bent over to pick up a package and somebody sees that you're wearing a gun because you actually exposed it, cops are going to show up and give you a 10-year vacation. You know, they're not going to care.
That's a federal thing. That's not a state
federal
thing,
law.
so.
You know, are you aware of that? Are you aware of where you can't take that gun? Are you aware of what's a misdemeanor versus a felony and what the differences are in those gun charges? Do you know what it means when you walk up to a business and they've got a sign on the door that says no firearms are allowed? Do you know what your responsibility is or isn't in those circumstances?
So I'll give you an example, and Phil, you correct me if I'm wrong. Carrying a concealed firearm on your person with your permit, allowable if you're dropping your kids off at school, going in to pick them up or not?
Allowable, yes.
Not necessarily a good idea.
Yes.
You're still going to interact with police, but once they will probably know the law, and if they don't, once they get it figured out, they're going to be like, okay, you know, yes, you're allowed to do that. Please don't do that anymore. Okay, it's one of those things. It's a courtesy thing, and that's some of the stuff you get in the class of. Yes, technically this is legal and not prohibited. Is it a good idea to do it? No. Yeah. You know, there's normally not.
It's legal to jump out of an airplane without a parachute, but not advised.
Not a good idea. So.
Right.
And I would just reiterate, just like the last free clinic we did, Chris Cox, and we should have him on to sort of answer some of the questions.
That's a great
in
idea.
The larger format that we have from that. When you're interacting with police, you know, and you'll get some of this in the class too. It doesn't matter if they're wrong. You still need to comply with what they're doing and do so politely.
Exactly.
So.
All right, and then a lot of people are even asked the question, well, I can open carry, right? Missouri's an open carry state. Yeah, it sure is. It's an open carry state. But there's always a but.
Municipalities can restrict open carry.
Yeah, and there are a number of municipalities that say, we recognize your right to open carry, but we will only allow it if you have a concealed carry permit.
That's actually in the Missouri law. Your permit overrides their prohibition against it. So
exactly.
It just gives you more freedom. It's going to, and your last point I think is great here too, is if you've got a concealed carry permit and you are interacting with the police, it's an automatic, okay, this is a known good guy, right? So he wouldn't have a permit if he's not a good guy. He's at least been through a background check in the past 5 years. So chances are he's a good guy. And so they're going to interact with you in probably a lot more relaxed fashion than if you just happen to be constitutional carry and they have no idea who you are. So
get your CCW. Period.
There's no reason not to.
There's no reason not to.
Right.
That, you know, however much time it costs you, however much money it costs you, that's not a cost. It's an investment. If you're going to be armed, you need to do so responsibly, and that includes education. Train. Understand the law. And when you take it from us, we've got 100% reciprocity. So, great example is we're teaching CCW. The law changed so that we're now a constitutional carry state. We had a number of people come back and take the class again at no charge so they could figure that part out.
Right.
So they could understand what that really meant. That's what you get when you go to a quality trainer and you get quality education.
That's right. Yeah, and just to reiterate, any course you take from us, you get to repeat for free. You never have to pay for the same course again. So.
You know, another thing I didn't put on here, but if you're going to carry that gun, you really need to be insured for that. USCCA, the U.S. Concealed Carry Association, has a fantastic program to insure and protect you should you need to use that firearm. I didn't look it up, but I would bet that you almost need your CCW license in order to buy their insurance so that they know that you've been trained. Don't know that for a fact, but that's another bit of information.
If you go to our website, there's a button you can click on, and all the details are there for that. So.
But again, another piece of information that was not made available to me, you know, that there are options to protect yourself when you're carrying a firearm, and you definitely need, you've got car insurance, you need this insurance too.
Absolutely. So. All right, so if you got questions on any of that, call us 636-220-1300. You can email us at downrange@therangestl.com, or you can email phil@therangestl.com. Be happy to answer your questions. Come by 14803 Manchester Road. All right, so it's time for a rant and a hero.
Okay.
Rant first.
Rant first. Pay attention when you selfie. I'm just saying. I don't know how many times we've all been there, right? You're out in ball game. My wife and I are going to the ball game tonight, right? Every time we go to the ball game, there's people, and we've done it too. You know, you want to take a picture of yourself, but I don't know how many times I've seen people run and end up. Well, part of the reason they run into the people doing the selfie is they're on their phones too, right? But man, pay attention when you selfie.
People falling off cliffs.
Well, yeah, there were two people. I'm laughing at this and giggling. It's not funny. 2 people fell off a cliff and died while they were taking a selfie. We
So
got a
I'm
guy
going to say they were in condition white, right?
condition white.
We're not aware of their surroundings.
We had another guy. There's been a video out there over in China somewhere that got out of his car to take a selfie with a bear, and ended up being bear lunch.
Okay, so I'm just saying,
that's a little
anytime you're going to
extreme,
take a selfie with a bear, it's hard to have sympathy for that, right?
Yeah.
You know, it's just
But please, if you're going to selfie, be self-aware.
right. Pay attention to your surroundings
attention.
first. So. All right, hero. My hero this week is all the dads that put
You're
all
welcome.
the effort and energy into raising their children to be good men and women. They sacrifice, they get up early, they go to bed late, they go to the ball games, they help coach the teams, they go to work, they work hard, provide for their family, and make sure that their family's taken care of. So that's my hero, is all the dads who do it and do it the right way for all the right reasons.
Yeah.
So.
They forget about themselves and focus
That's
on their families.
And that's not always easy today, especially in today's society.
Yep.
So
Thanks, Dad.
thanks, dads. Appreciate it. All right, that's going to wrap it up. Next time we're going to have
Yeah, we're going to get
Kelly on, talk
Yep.
about, and have some other cool videos, and we'll replay the intro video every week, obviously. And again, Phil, thanks for doing that. We'll even try to be on time once the video ends.
Time-ish.
So, time-ish, right? All right, that's going to wrap it up. Thanks for
careful.
watching. Appreciate it.
Yep. You ready?
I'm ready.